A notification lights up your screen. The plans for tonight are canceled. As you read the words, you don't feel disappointment. You feel a wave of pure, unadulterated relief. The social obligation, the performance, the noise, it has all been lifted. A quiet evening to yourself is no longer a wish, it is a reality. But then, almost immediately, a second wave of feeling follows the relief. It is colder, sharper. It is guilt. You ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel happiest when I am escaping the world? This is a secret conflict waged in the minds of millions, yet spoken of by few. In a culture that relentlessly celebrates the social butterfly, the networker, the one who is always out, always seen, always connected, the person who finds solace within their own four walls is often seen as an anomaly. You might be labeled as shy, anxious, unmotivated, or even depressed. Friends and family may express concern, pushing you to get out more, not understanding that their very prescription is a source of your exhaustion. You live with a quiet, persistent feeling of being fundamentally misaligned with the expectations of the world. But what if this pull towards home, this deep need for solitude, is not a character flaw? What if it is not a sign of weakness, but a profound and misunderstood signal from the deepest part of your psyche? What if I told you that one of the greatest explorers of the human soul, Carl Jung, provided a map that re-enchants this experience? He suggests that your preference for staying home is not an escape from life, but a pilgrimage into a world richer and more vast than most people ever dare to explore. Today, we journey into the heart of this experience. We will not offer you tips on how to become more outgoing. We will do the opposite. We will validate your nature by uncovering 6 profound truths, rooted in Jungian psychology, that explain the power and purpose behind your preference for staying home. This is not about justifying a habit. It is about understanding a calling to the great and necessary work of knowing thyself. The first and perhaps most fundamental truth lies in a deep misunderstanding of a word we use every day: introversion. In modern culture, we have flattened this term to mean shyness or social anxiety. This is a profound error. For Jung, introversion is not about behavior. It is about the direction of energy flow. The extrovert's psychic energy, his libido, naturally flows outward to the external world of people, events, and objects. He is energized by engagement. The introvert's energy, however, naturally flows inward, toward the inner world of thoughts, feelings, and ideas. Think of it like this. The extrovert has a solar panel that charges in the bright sun of social interaction. The introvert has a hydroelectric dam that generates power from the deep, steady flow of their own inner river. Forcing an introvert into constant social engagement is like expecting a dam to function in a desert. It is not just unpleasant. It is a fundamental drain of life force. Your desire to be home is not you being antisocial. It is your psyche's intelligent and non-negotiable demand to return to its power source. It is the act of plugging yourself back in. The world outside is a constant expenditure of your most vital resource. Your home is the sanctuary where that resource is replenished, where the waters of your inner world can flow freely, generating the energy you need not just to survive, but to truly live. Honoring this is the first step away from guilt and towards radical self-acceptance. This leads us to the second truth, which addresses the feeling of performance that so often accompanies leaving the house. Jung called this performance the persona. The persona is the social mask we all wear. It is the curated version of ourselves that we present to the world to be accepted, to fit in, to function in society. It is your professional self, your friendly neighbor self, your polite customer self. The persona is not inherently bad. It is a necessary tool for navigating a complex social reality. The problem arises when the world demands we wear the persona for extended periods, or when we begin to mistake the mask for our actual face. For the individual whose energy is naturally directed inward, maintaining this outward-facing mask is exceptionally draining. It is a constant, low-level performance. Every conversation, every social nicety, Every moment of conforming to external expectations can feel like acting in a play you never auditioned for. Your desire to go home is the deep, instinctual need to drop the mask. It is the moment the actor can finally go back to his dressing room, wipe off the grease paint, and just be. Home is the one place on earth where you are not required to perform for anyone. There is no social script. There are no expectations to manage. There is only the freedom to be authentic. This shedding of the persona is not just a relief. It is a vital psychological necessity. Without it, we risk becoming alienated from our true selves, living a life of quiet exhaustion, forever playing a role while our true nature starves for expression, hidden beneath the surface. The deep comfort of home is the comfort of authenticity. So if we are retreating from the world of the persona, where exactly are we retreating to? This brings us to the third and perhaps most magical truth. Your home is the gateway to your inner world. From the outside, a person at home might look like they are doing nothing, but from a Jungian perspective, they could be engaged in the most profound form of exploration that exists. Jung did not see the psyche as a blank slate, but as a living, breathing universe, an inner cosmos teeming with life, symbols, and ancient wisdom. This inner world is just as real and far more vast than the external one. It is the landscape of your dreams, the source of your creativity, the seat of your intuition, and the home of your soul. To explore this world requires stillness. It requires silence. It requires the absence of external distraction. Your home provides the perfect vessel for this sacred exploration. When you are sitting in your quiet living room, you are not being unproductive. You are creating the conditions necessary to listen to the subtle whispers of your intuition, to untangle the complex threads of your feelings, to commune with the powerful archetypal figures that reside in your unconscious. The extroverted world, with its constant noise and demand for attention, makes this deep listening almost impossible. It is like trying to hear a symphony in the middle of a construction site. Your preference for home is the preference of the explorer who knows that the greatest treasures are not found in the noisy marketplace, but in the uncharted territories of the soul. Your home is not an empty space. It is the launch pad for the ultimate journey. This inner journey, however, is not always one of peace and light. It forces us to confront difficult realities, which reveals the fourth truth. Home is the private laboratory for confronting your shadow. The shadow, in Jungian terms, is everything in ourselves that we have repressed or rejected. It contains the parts of our personality that we are ashamed of, the traits we deem unacceptable, the desires we deny. It is the dark side we don't want to admit we have. In the social world, we spend enormous energy keeping our shadow hidden. We fear that if others saw these parts of us, we would be judged, shamed, or ostracized. The persona exists largely to conceal the shadow. But Jung taught that we cannot become whole without integrating the shadow. We must own our darkness to access the strength and creativity hidden within it. This work is terrifying, and it is intensely private. Your home provides the ultimate safe container for this dangerous but necessary work. Within your own walls, you can allow your shadow to emerge without fear of external judgment. You can have the angry thoughts, feel the forbidden envy, admit your deepest fears and insecurities. You can be brutally honest with yourself in a way that is impossible when you are under the social microscope. It is in the solitude of your home that you can journal about your darkest impulses, have imaginary arguments to understand your own projections, and trace the roots of your own failings without flinching. This is not self-pity. It is radical self-honesty. Choosing to stay home can be an unconscious choice to do the courageous work of looking your own demon in the eye, so that you may ultimately integrate its power. This integration of the shadow is a critical part of a larger process, which constitutes the fifth and most profound truth. Your preference for solitude is essential for the process of individuation. Individuation was Jung's term for the lifelong journey of becoming a psychologically whole, complete, and indivisible individual. It is the process of discovering and fulfilling your unique potential. It is, for Jung, the ultimate purpose of human life. This is not a hobby or a self-help trend. It is the great work of the soul. And this work cannot be done in a crowd. It requires a significant degree of introspection and retreat from the collective. The world constantly tries to shape you into a copy of everyone else, to make you conform to the average, to follow the well-trodden path. The process of individuation is the process of resisting this pressure and discovering the unique blueprint of your own soul. This requires you to detach from the collective myths and values, to question everything you have been taught, and to listen for the singular guiding voice within you. Your home becomes the alchemical vessel, the sacred container in which this transformation occurs. It is the monastery where the monk of your soul can do his work. The time you spend alone is not wasted time. It is incubation time. It is the time when you sift through your experiences, integrate your insights, and slowly, piece by piece, build your authentic self. The person who is constantly out in the world, buffeted by the opinions and demands of others, has little chance to do this work. They are too busy reacting to life to consciously create it. Your instinct to retreat to your home can be seen as the instinct of your soul, demanding the conditions necessary for its own birth. And what are we listening for in that quiet space? This is the sixth and final truth. Solitude allows you to hear the voice of the self. For Jung, the self is the ultimate archetype of wholeness, the regulating center of the entire psyche. It is the God image within. While the ego is the center of our conscious mind, what we think of as I, the self encompasses both the conscious and the unconscious. It is our totality, our wisest and most complete aspect. The voice of the self is not loud. It is a quiet, persistent whisper. It speaks not in demands but in nudges, in symbols, in dreams, in synchronicities, in gut feelings. In the noise and rush of the external world, the voice of the ego and the demands of the collective shout it down. We cannot hear our own deepest truth because we are inundated with the truths of others. Your home is a sanctuary of silence where the signal of the self can finally get through the noise. When you deliberately choose solitude, you are saying to your psyche, I am ready to listen. You are creating a space for your deepest wisdom to emerge. This is why moments of profound insight, creativity, and life-changing decisions so often happen when we are alone. It is in the quiet of our own company that we can finally distinguish our own true voice from the chorus of external expectations. The pull to go home is the pull of the self, calling you back to your own center, back to the source of your unique truth and purpose. It is a call to come home to yourself. So what happens if we ignore this call? What are the consequences of continuing to believe the lie that our nature is a flaw? We pay a heavy price. We live a life of chronic psychic exhaustion, constantly pouring our energy into a world that doesn't replenish us. We become alienated from our own soul, mistaking the social mask for our real face until we no longer know who we are beneath it. We miss the great adventure, the journey into our own depths. We live a life of fragmentation, always feeling like something is missing, because the most important part of ourselves, our inner world, is left unexplored and unattended. It is a quiet tragedy, a life lived as a stranger to oneself. But it does not have to be this way. The turning point comes with a single, powerful shift in perception. It is the moment you stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" and start asking, "What is my soul trying to tell me?" It is the realization that your need for solitude is not a flight from the world, but a flight to the self. It is not an act of weakness, but an act of profound courage and self-fidelity. It is the beginning of honoring your own nature as sacred. Embracing this new path means consciously redesigning your life around your energetic reality. It means scheduling solitude with the same seriousness you would schedule a business meeting. It means curating your home not just as a living space, but as a temple for your inner work. It means learning to say no to social invitations that feel like a drain, not out of malice, but out of a deep and respectful yes to your own journey. It is about choosing your social interactions with intention, seeking quality of connection, over quantity of contacts. It is about finding the one or two friends with whom you can drop the persona, rather than the 100 acquaintances with whom you must always wear it. It is a path of deliberate, conscious choices that align your outer life with your inner truth. This path, however, is not one of perpetual ease. To choose a life that honors the inner world is to move against the grain of a deeply extroverted culture. You will be misunderstood. Friends may drift away. You may feel a sense of loneliness at times, and it will be your task to distinguish between nourishing solitude and corrosive isolation. You will have to be the primary guardian of your own energy, a gatekeeper for your own soul, and that is a difficult and often thankless responsibility. The world will not stop demanding your attention. You will have to be the one who learns to reclaim it. But the rewards of this journey are immeasurable. As you commit to this inner work, you do not become weaker or more fragile. You become a fortress. You build a core of inner resilience that is unshakable by the storms of the external world. You cultivate a deep well of creativity and insight. You develop a powerful intuition that guides your decisions with unerring wisdom. You stop seeking validation from others because you have found it within yourself. You become a source of quiet strength, a lighthouse whose calm, steady beam offers more guidance to those lost in the storm than 1,000 fleeting fireworks ever could. You become whole. If these explorations into the architecture of your mind resonate with you, ensure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future deep dives. We are committed to this journey of self-discovery, and we invite you to join us. And now, a question for your own reflection. Which of these 6 Jungian truths resonated most deeply with your own experience of preferring to be home? The need to recharge your introverted energy, the exhaustion of the persona, the exploration of the inner world, the confrontation with the shadow, the work of individuation, or the call of the self. Share your commitment to honoring that truth in the comments below. Your journey can inspire others. Remember this the next time you feel the sweet relief of canceled plans and the bitter guilt that follows. The pull you feel is not a flaw to be fixed. It is the gravitational pull of your own soul, calling you back to the center of your own universe. Your home is not a cage. It is the workshop of your soul.